"Remove the cloth," she asked. The rancher complied, and stood frozen in terror. Wild West tales. Dust swirled in the dry wind across the vast plains surrounding the little town of Red Rock. Rancher Cole wiped the sweat from his brow and adjusted his hat as he guided his weary horse along the familiar trail back to his homestead. It had been another long day tending to the cattle, repairing fences, and making sure the few crops that stubbornly grew in this harsh land survived. Life was hard, but for Cole, it was honest work, and he had always taken pride in it. As he approached the edge of the small canyon that marked the entrance to his ranch, Cole noticed something unusual. At first, he thought it was a trick of the setting sun, a shimmer of light in the distance. But as he drew closer, he realized it was a person, standing perfectly still on the ridge. The figure was cloaked in a long garment that seemed to shimmer faintly in the last rays of sunlight. Cole squinted, trying to make out who it could be. No one in Red Rock dressed like that. No one ever appeared out of nowhere on the open plains either. Cole slowed his horse and brought it to a halt. His heart beat a little faster, not with fear exactly, but with curiosity. The figure raised a hand in a simple gesture of greeting. "Evening," said a soft voice. It carried a tone that was calm, almost musical, yet there was an air of authority in it. Cole dismounted slowly, keeping his distance. "Evening," he replied cautiously. "You're a long way from town. Can I help you?" The figure tilted their head slightly and held out an object wrapped in layers of cloth. The fabric shimmered in colors that Cole didn't recognize, colors that seemed to shift as if alive. "Would you remove the cloth?" the figure asked. Cole hesitated. He had learned in his life that strangers rarely brought good news, especially in such a remote place. But there was something in the figure's calmness that made him trust them, even against his better judgment. With careful hands, he unwrapped the layers of cloth. As the final layer fell away, Cole froze. He expected perhaps some rare artifact or a curious trinket, but what lay before him was unlike anything he had ever seen. Hovering in the air before him was a small device, about the size of a loaf of bread, but it was far from ordinary. It glowed with an inner light, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. Thin lines of energy ran across its surface, forming patterns that seemed to move and change, almost like living symbols. And then, as Cole watched in awe, the device projected a miniature galaxy into the air above it. Tiny stars twinkled and miniature planets orbited around miniature suns. Even more astonishing, small vessels, no bigger than a hummingbird, darted through the galaxy as if carrying out missions. Cole stumbled back a step. What is this?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "It is a projection of possibilities," the figure replied. "It shows what is, what was, and what could be." Cole's eyes widened. He had read about strange things in books, about inventions and discoveries beyond human understanding, but he had never imagined something like this could exist in the middle of the plains of Red Rock. The figure's eyes, bright, unusual, and almost glowing, met his. "Humans are remarkable," they said. "Your kind has something my people lost long ago. You think, you adapt, you create. Even in the harshest of worlds, you survive. You endure." Cole blinked, trying to process the words. He had always known life was difficult. He had fought droughts, storms, and illness in his cattle. He had faced loneliness and hardship. But no one had ever praised him for it in this way, especially not someone who seemed not of this world. The woman, or perhaps, he thought, an alien, smiled faintly. "I have come to see if your kind is ready for more," she said. "More than the plains, more than towns like this, to explore the stars, to shape the future of worlds." Cole felt a shiver run down his spine. The idea was impossible, yet thrilling. Humans in space. Traveling between stars. He had always dreamed of adventure, but his life had been so grounded, so ordinary. And yet here it was, offered to him in the most unexpected way. "Why me?" he asked. "Why here? Why now?" "You were chosen because of your choices," the figure said. Because you see opportunities where others see obstacles. Because you act, even when the path is uncertain. That is why humans are special. Cole studied the glowing artifact, fascinated by the tiny galaxy spinning slowly above it. He noticed the small vessels moving between stars, making decisions, altering courses, avoiding collisions. Each movement was deliberate yet flexible, not rigid or mechanical. It's like it's alive, he murmured. In a sense it is, the figure replied. But it is also a test. Observe carefully. Every decision affects the outcome. Watch how each vessel navigates the galaxy. Cole leaned closer. His mind, trained by years of ranch work and problem-solving on the fly, began noticing patterns. Tiny vessels avoided danger by taking risks other civilizations would consider too reckless. They adapted, they responded to changes instantly. Humans. Humans think and act this way naturally, he realized. They take risks, but they survive. You understand, the figure said softly. You see what my people cannot. Your intuition, your courage, your curiosity, these are gifts, and soon you will be asked to use them in ways you cannot yet imagine. Cole's heart raced. The air around him seemed charged with electricity, not harsh or dangerous but alive, pulsing with potential. You want me to what? He asked, his voice trembling with excitement and fear. For now you only watch, the figure said. Learn, see what is possible. But know this, humans have the power to shape the galaxy, to survive where others fail, to create solutions that no one else can conceive. That is why I am here. Cole swallowed hard. He wanted to ask more, but the words wouldn't come. He couldn't take his eyes off the miniature galaxy spinning before him. It was mesmerizing, alive, and impossibly intricate. He realized that for the first time in his life, he was seeing the universe in a way no human had ever seen before, through the eyes of someone who recognized humanity's true potential. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the plains. The figure turned slightly as if preparing to leave. Remember, she said, the world you know is only the beginning. Your choices, your actions, they matter far beyond this land. Cole nodded, though he didn't fully understand. The figure's words were heavy with meaning, but he felt a strange surge of pride. Humans were special. Humans could endure, adapt, and thrive. And maybe, just maybe, he could be part of something greater than himself. The figure lifted into the air with a grace that seemed to defy gravity, and in a moment she disappeared, leaving Cole alone with the artifact. The glow from the device bathed his face in soft light, and he realized it would not fade soon. The world around him was quiet now, the plains stretching endlessly into the night, but Cole's mind was alive with possibilities. For the first time in his life, he felt that the vast, endless universe was calling, not in fear but in invitation. Humans were meant to explore. Humans were meant to adapt. And perhaps, somewhere out there among the stars, they would find a place where their unique qualities mattered more than anyone had ever imagined. Cole knelt beside the artifact, examining it carefully. Its glow reflected in his eyes, and he could almost hear the hum of the tiny vessels moving through their miniature galaxy. He reached out, almost instinctively, and touched it. A warmth spread through his fingers, gentle but powerful. The artifact seemed to recognize him, as if acknowledging that a human was now a witness to its secrets. Hours passed like minutes as Cole studied the projection. He saw entire civilizations rise and fall in miniature, watched planets form and sustain life, and marveled at the complexity of the systems before him. And yet, he understood something profound. Humans were capable of making a difference where others could not. Their adaptability, creativity, and intuition were not just survival traits, they were superpowers. The night deepened, and the stars above mirrored the tiny galaxy in his hands. Cole felt a sense of connection, a link between his small life on the ranch and the vast universe beyond. For the first time, he believed that humanity had a future among the stars. and he knew, without question, that he would not ignore the call. The wind rustled the dry grass, carrying the faint scent of the plains at night. Cole finally stood, brushing the dust from his hands. The artifact remained glowing softly, a promise and a challenge all at once. He looked toward the horizon, where the first light of the new day would soon touch the land. Humanity's journey was just beginning, and he was ready to take the first step. The first light of dawn stretched across the plains, painting the world in soft gold and pale blue. Rancher Cole stood at the edge of his land, still holding the strange artifact in his hands. Though he had spent the night studying it, the device's miniature galaxy seemed to reveal more secrets with every passing moment. Tiny starships zipped between planets, weaving in patterns too complex for him to fully grasp, but he sensed a purpose behind every movement. Cole's mind was alive with questions. Who was the woman who had left it here? Why had she chosen him? And most importantly, why did the artifact respond to him as if it knew him personally? His days of ranch work had taught him patience, observation, and problem-solving. Now, those skills seemed suddenly important in ways he had never imagined. He knelt closer, watching the holographic galaxy spin in midair. A tiny planet came into focus. On its surface, he could see small, living creatures moving about. They built structures, grew food, and traveled across the land in ways that mirrored humanity. It was astonishing. These beings were intelligent, yet their world faced dangers just as his planes did. "Why show me this?" Cole whispered aloud, almost to himself. The words felt foolish in the quiet morning air, yet he could not help but speak. From somewhere deep in the artifact, a soft hum seemed to answer. The energy pulsing through it was gentle, but it carried a voice, not spoken in words but felt in thoughts. A presence made itself known, observant, patient, and ancient. "To learn," it seemed to say. Cole shivered. The artifact was alive in a way that no machine he had ever encountered could be. It responded to him, and he felt a strange connection, as if the universe itself were whispering through it. He spent hours observing the miniature galaxy. The starships moved with precision, yet their actions were unpredictable in small ways. Sometimes they took risks, sometimes they avoided obstacles cleverly. It reminded him of humans working together in tough situations, farmhands managing a sudden storm, settlers navigating uncharted land. Even the smallest choices made a difference in the outcome. Cole realized then what the woman had meant. Humans were not perfect. They made mistakes. They acted on intuition, on feeling, and often on hope. Yet that very unpredictability, the willingness to adapt, to take a chance, was what gave humans an advantage that others, even highly advanced civilizations, could not replicate. The artifact projected a series of images, worlds filled with civilizations that had grown proud, logical, and rigid. They built advanced machines, mapped every star, and calculated every possible outcome. Yet despite their power, they struggled to survive. When unexpected challenges appeared, sudden planetary storms, disease, or resource shortages, they failed because they lacked the human ability to improvise. Cole leaned back, astonished. It was a lesson in survival, and it was being shown to him in a way that was almost poetic. Humans were flawed, yes, but that flaw was also their strength. It was their heart, their intuition, and their courage that made them capable of more than any perfect machine or civilization. As the sun climbed higher, Cole felt a sense of purpose growing inside him. He had always believed in hard work, in doing his best with the land he was given. But now he understood that his small world on the plains was only the beginning. Humans had the potential to shape the future on a cosmic scale. Then, a new image appeared in the projection. It was not just a planet or a civilization. It was a simulation of a complex system, with multiple planets on the brink of disaster. Their star was unstable, sending waves of energy that threatened to destroy entire cities. Small starships raced across the system, trying to stabilize the planets, but the calculations were failing. The system needed a solution, and it needed one quickly. Cole's heart beat faster. He instinctively understood that this was a test. The artifact was showing him a problem that demanded human ingenuity. Other species might fail because they would rely only on logic or protocol. But humans could think outside the box, improvise, and act on instinct. He reached out toward the holographic system. His fingers hovered over one of the starships, and the artifact responded, allowing him to guide it. He felt a thrill of excitement and fear. He was in control of something far greater than himself. He moved the tiny vessel carefully, avoiding collisions, redirecting energy flows, and stabilizing the orbit of a struggling planet. Hours passed as he worked, though time felt different within the artifact's influence. He tried different approaches, some failing, some succeeding, until he finally brought the system to stability. The miniature galaxy pulsed with light as the starships aligned in perfect harmony. Cole's chest swelled with pride. He had done something incredible, guided by intuition, patience, and careful observation. He realized the woman had been right. Humans were remarkable. Their ability to adapt, to take risks, and to act with courage gave them a power that was not measured in technology or wealth, but in spirit. The artifact pulsed again, and this time a new message seemed to come through. You understand. You see what others cannot. Your kind is ready. Cole smiled, feeling a mix of awe and responsibility. It was no longer just a game or a test. This was a glimpse of what humanity could achieve. He could see a future where humans ventured beyond the stars, not just surviving but thriving, shaping new worlds with creativity and resilience. For a moment, he imagined his ranch, his town, and the familiar plains of red rock. Everything seemed small compared to the vast potential now visible to him. And yet, he realized that it was exactly this grounded experience, this life of work, observation, and problem-solving, that had prepared him for the challenge. Humans did not need to be perfect. They needed heart, courage, and determination. As he sat there, watching the stars in miniature above him, Cole felt a deep connection, not just to the artifact or the galaxy it displayed, but to the idea of humanity itself. Humans were explorers, inventors, and survivors. They had endured droughts, storms, and hardship for centuries. They had built societies, grown families, and faced countless challenges with creativity and resilience. And now, they could take those same qualities into the stars. The day passed, and Cole's mind wandered to what the woman had said, to explore the stars, to shape the future of worlds. He felt a thrill at the thought. Perhaps humans were not meant to remain on their small planet forever. Perhaps their destiny lay among the stars, guided not by perfect calculations, but by intuition, courage, and the unyielding human spirit. By evening, the artifact had dimmed slightly, though it remained alive and glowing in Cole's hands. He carefully placed it on a flat rock and sat beside it, thinking. If humans were truly special, if their ingenuity could solve problems no one else could, then the world he knew, the ranch, the town, even the plains themselves, was only the beginning. The universe was vast, full of possibilities, and humans had something no one else did, the ability to rise, adapt, and thrive where others might fail. Cole looked toward the horizon as the sun set once more. The plains stretched endlessly and the stars began to appear in the darkening sky. He felt a sense of responsibility, of opportunity, and of excitement he had never known before. Humans were not just survivors, they were explorers, inventors, and problem solvers. And he, a simple rancher from Red Rock, had been given a glimpse of that truth. That night, Cole lay on the dry grass, staring at the sky above. He thought of the tiny starships in the holographic galaxy, of civilizations struggling and succeeding, and of the possibilities that awaited humans beyond their own world. He could not sleep, not because of fear, but because his mind was alive with ideas, strategies, and dreams. In the quiet of the plains, with the stars shining above and the artifact glowing softly beside him, Cole understood something profound. The universe was waiting, and humans were ready. Their heart, their courage, and their creativity were gifts that could shape the future. And perhaps someday soon humanity would prove itself among the stars. As he drifted toward sleep, he made a promise to himself. He would prepare, he would learn, he would grow. And when the time came, he would help humanity take its first step into the cosmos, not with fear, but with confidence, courage, and the unique human spirit that no other species could match. And somewhere, far beyond the plains of red rock, the mysterious figure watched, unseen but present, knowing that the first step had been taken, and that humanity's journey was only beginning. The morning sun rose slowly over the plains of red rock, casting golden light across the hills and cattle grazing quietly. Rancher Cole woke with a sense of purpose he had never known before. The artifact still rested on the flat rock near his porch, glowing softly as though it had been waiting for him all night. Cole's hands trembled slightly as he reached out to it. The artifact responded immediately, its tiny galaxy projecting into the air above him, spinning with its miniature suns, planets, and tiny starships. The vessels darted and weaved, moving in patterns that seemed almost random yet purposeful. Suddenly, the projection changed. A new scene appeared. It was a planetary system, far more complex than anything Cole had seen before. Multiple planets orbited a massive sun, but some of them were in trouble. One planet's orbit was dangerously close to a second sun, causing storms that threatened its surface. Another planet's atmosphere was destabilizing, and its inhabitants, tiny beings like the miniature civilizations he had seen before, were at risk. Cole's stomach tightened. He knew immediately what the artifact was showing: a test. It was not enough to observe, he was being asked to act. "Can I help them?" he whispered aloud. The artifact seemed to vibrate as if acknowledging his question. A small vessel appeared in the projection, floating near the endangered planets. Its course could be altered, but the decision required timing, careful judgment, and a willingness to take risks. Cole took a deep breath. He had faced challenges on his ranch before: storms, lost cattle, fences collapsing in the wind. But this was different. This was no ordinary challenge. These were lives, entire civilizations depending on his choices. He leaned closer, his mind racing. The first problem was the planet too close to the sun. He could see energy waves rising from its surface, threatening the inhabitants. A straightforward solution would be to move the planet, but that risked destabilizing the others. Cole studied the tiny vessels, watching how they navigated around obstacles. Some followed strict, calculated paths. Others acted unpredictably, taking risks that could either succeed brilliantly or fail completely. Cole's hands hovered above the projection. He made his choice. Instead of following the safe path, he guided one of the vessels on a bold route that took it directly through the energy waves. The ship wobbled, almost colliding with another, but Cole adjusted its course with quick instincts. Slowly, the planet's orbit stabilized and the storms began to calm. A sense of relief washed over him, but he knew this was only the beginning. Another planet's atmosphere was breaking down, and the inhabitants needed help to survive. Cole thought carefully. The vessel he had just guided could not do both jobs at the same time. He needed to plan, anticipate, and act with precision. He studied the simulation for patterns, just as he had studied the cattle and weather back on the ranch. He noticed that the storms on the first planet had created a flow of energy that could be redirected to stabilize the second planet. But it required a delicate maneuver, a series of coordinated moves by multiple vessels, each one timed perfectly. Cole held his breath. He began issuing instructions, guiding the vessels with careful attention. One moved close to the sun to redirect energy, another pushed debris from the atmosphere, and a third stabilized the planet's orbit. The vessels responded almost instantly, as if understanding his intent. Slowly, the second planet's atmosphere began to stabilize, and the tiny inhabitants moved safely across their surface. Cole stepped back, wiping sweat from his brow. He had never faced a challenge like this before, but something inside him clicked. His experience on the ranch, observing patterns, predicting outcomes, making decisions quickly, had prepared him for this moment. Humans were not perfect, but they were adaptable. They could think creatively, take risks, and solve problems in ways no other species could. The artifact pulsed brightly, acknowledging his success, but it did not stop there. A third planet came into focus, its situation even more critical. Its orbit was erratic, and it was being pulled toward a massive asteroid belt. If the planet collided with even one asteroid, its civilization would be destroyed. Cole frowned. The same solution as before would not work. He needed a new approach, one that required thinking differently. He remembered something the woman had said. Humans succeed where others fail because they act with intuition, heart, and courage. He studied the asteroid belt carefully. Its paths were chaotic but not entirely random. He noticed a narrow opening between two massive asteroids that the planet could pass through if guided correctly. It was risky, but it was the only chance. Cole directed the vessel toward the planet, timing its movements precisely. The planet shuddered as it passed through the opening, barely avoiding collision. His hands moved quickly, adjusting its trajectory in real time. The asteroid belt was dangerous, but the planet made it through safely. Cole exhaled deeply, a smile spreading across his face. He had done it. He had saved the third planet. He realized then that humans' greatest strength was not following instructions perfectly, but knowing when to take risks, when to improvise, and when to trust their instincts. As he looked at the miniature galaxy, the artifact shifted again. Tiny starships now gathered around the three planets, creating protective shields and stabilizing their environments. The inhabitants below celebrated in miniature, their movements joyful and alive. Cole felt a warmth in his chest. He had helped create something extraordinary, but the artifact had one more test. A new planet appeared unlike any before. Its surface was barren and its orbit was unstable. No previous strategy seemed to work. Cole realized that this was the most difficult challenge yet. He thought back to his life on the ranch, years of problem solving, of learning from mistakes, of taking care of others. He understood that this test was not just about skill, it was about mindset. Humans succeeded where others failed because they were persistent, curious, and willing to try again when things went wrong. Cole guided the vessels toward the barren planet. He experimented with different strategies, redirecting energy from nearby stars, adjusting orbits, and even using the asteroid belts to create protective shields. Each attempt brought new lessons, and each failure taught him something important. Hours passed, though in the real world it felt like mere moments. Cole was absorbed in the challenge, completely focused. Then, after a final adjustment, the planet's orbit stabilized. Slowly, life began to appear on its surface. Tiny plants sprouted, rivers flowed, and small creatures emerged, exploring their new home. Cole leaned back, exhausted but exhilarated. The artifact pulsed with bright light, and a voice seemed to echo through his mind. "You have succeeded. You have acted with heart, courage, and intelligence. You understand the value of human creativity and adaptability." He realized that the woman had not just given him a test, she had shown him what humanity was capable of. Humans did not rely solely on technology or logic. They relied on imagination, intuition, and a willingness to act even when the outcome was uncertain. Cole smiled, feeling a deep sense of pride. He had saved worlds, guided civilizations, and proven that humans had a unique power in the universe. And yet, he knew this was only the beginning. There were countless more challenges waiting, some in the stars, some perhaps even on Earth. but he felt ready. Humans were meant to face the unknown, to adapt, and to thrive. As the sun set over Red Rock, Cole carefully set the artifact on the rock beside him. Its glow dimmed slightly, but it remained alive, a reminder of the possibilities that awaited humanity. He looked toward the horizon, feeling a connection to the vast universe beyond his small town. For the first time, he understood that humans were not limited to the plains, the towns, or even the planet itself. Their true strength lay in their creativity, their courage, and their determination to survive and grow in the face of any challenge. Cole sat quietly, watching the tiny galaxy spin in midair. The vessels moved gracefully, completing their tasks, stabilizing planets and ensuring the survival of countless civilizations. He realized that humans, like him, had a role to play in this vast universe. Night fell, and the stars above mirrored the miniature galaxy. Cole felt a sense of peace. He had faced the test and succeeded, not because he was perfect, but because he was human. He had acted with heart, courage, and intelligence, the qualities that made humanity special. And somewhere far beyond Red Rock, the mysterious woman watched silently, knowing that the first true challenge had been met. Humanity had passed the test, and the journey to the stars was only beginning. Cole lay back on the dry grass, gazing at the night sky. The artifact pulsed softly beside him, a living reminder of the potential within humans. He thought of the challenges ahead, the unknown adventures, and the incredible discoveries waiting in the universe. And for the first time, he felt not fear but excitement. Humans were ready to rise, adapt, and thrive beyond their world. The stars seemed to sparkle a little brighter that night, as if celebrating humanity's potential. And Cole, a simple rancher from Red Rock, knew that he had glimpsed something extraordinary, something that would change not only his life, but perhaps the future of his entire species. The first light of dawn crept slowly over the horizon, casting long shadows across the plains of Red Rock. Rancher Cole sat on the dry earth beside the glowing artifact, still amazed at what had happened the previous day. The miniature galaxy hovered above him, spinning gracefully, each planet and star illuminated by the artifact's soft glow. But today felt different. Today the artifact seemed aware of him in a deeper way. Cole reached out slowly, letting his fingers hover near the projection. Almost immediately, the tiny vessels darted toward him, as if drawn to his presence. The planets adjusted their orbits slightly, their movements fluid and natural, like they were responding to a guiding hand. He blinked, astonished. It knows me," he whispered aloud. His voice carried a mixture of wonder and disbelief. "It's reacting to me." And it was. But not just because of touch. Cole could feel a subtle energy in the air, a connection that went beyond sight or sound. The artifact pulsed gently, each vibration resonating with something deep inside him. He realized slowly that it was communicating, not with words but with thought, feeling, and intent. A vision appeared before him, projected from the artifact, a vast expanse of space filled with countless civilizations. Some were thriving, others struggling. He saw planets forming, stars burning brightly, and new life emerging on barren worlds. The scale of it was overwhelming, yet somehow comprehensible. He understood, instinctively, that every choice, every action mattered, not just for one planet but for entire systems, entire civilizations. Cole felt a shiver run down his spine. It was as if the artifact had opened a door inside his mind, allowing him to perceive the universe in a way no human had ever experienced. He could see connections, patterns, and possibilities stretching far beyond his imagination. And then the voice came, not spoken but felt in every fiber of his being. Humans are unique. Your kind survives where others fail. Your creativity, your courage, and your intuition allow you to solve problems no one else can. You can shape the future of worlds. Cole's heart raced. He had always known humans were resilient, but he had never realized just how extraordinary they could be. He thought of his life on the plains, the long days, the storms, the cattle, the endless chores. Each challenge had taught him patience, observation, and problem-solving. Now he understood that these skills were part of a much larger picture. They were the foundation of humanity's ability to thrive on a cosmic scale. The artifact pulsed again, and a new projection appeared. This time it was not just a galaxy or a planetary system. It was Earth, his home world, seen from the vastness of space. He saw continents, oceans, mountains, and deserts, all bathed in sunlight. Tiny specks moved across the planet, cities, towns, and settlements. And among them he saw humanity in motion, creating, building, exploring, and learning. Cole realized something profound. Humanity had reached a crossroads. The choices they made now, collectively and individually, could determine the future not only of Earth, but of countless other worlds they might one day reach. Humans were not limited to their own planet. They had the potential to shape entire systems, to bring life and order where chaos might reign. The artifact shifted again, showing him a vision of a human civilization venturing into space. Ships moved beyond the atmosphere, exploring neighboring planets. Cities were built on distant worlds, and humans adapted to new environments with ingenuity and courage. Cole's chest swelled with pride. This was what the woman had meant. Humans were not just survivors, they were creators, explorers, and innovators. But the artifact also showed challenges. Planets with fragile ecosystems, civilizations facing collapse, and cosmic phenomena that could destroy entire systems. Cole realized that humanity's journey would not be easy. Success would require more than courage. It would require wisdom, cooperation, and a deep understanding of the universe. He closed his eyes, imagining the future. He saw humans guiding civilizations, helping struggling worlds, and finding solutions no other species could conceive. And then he saw something even more astonishing. Humans working together with other intelligent species, sharing knowledge and creating alliances that span the galaxy. Cole opened his eyes, feeling a sense of awe and responsibility. The artifact was showing him a vision of what humans could become, not just explorers of space, but shapers of the future. And he understood, more clearly than ever, that this potential was not a gift from technology alone. It was a gift of the human spirit, creativity, adaptability, courage, and compassion. The sun rose higher, bathing the plains in warm light. Cole stood, feeling the artifact's energy flow through him. He realized that he was not just observing the universe, he was connected to it. Every decision he made, every choice had an impact, and he knew that humanity's greatest strength was not perfection, but the willingness to act, to learn, and to grow. He turned his gaze toward the distant hills, imagining the possibilities. Humans could explore, invent, and solve problems in ways no one else could. They could rise to challenges, overcome adversity, and bring life and order to places where others might fail. The thought filled him with excitement and determination. Cole spent the entire day with the artifact, exploring its projections and learning from them. He saw civilizations rise and fall, planets thriving and struggling, and the delicate balance of cosmic forces. Each lesson reinforced what he already knew. Humans were special because of their heart, their courage, and their ability to adapt. As evening approached, Cole finally sat down on the grass, exhausted but exhilarated. The artifact pulsed softly beside him, casting a gentle light over the plains. He felt a deep sense of peace, knowing that he had glimpsed something extraordinary. Humanity had the potential to achieve greatness, not through brute force or perfection, but through ingenuity, creativity, and the unique qualities that made them human. And then, as the stars began to appear in the night sky, Cole felt something even more remarkable. A vision appeared before him, not projected by the artifact but within his own mind. He saw himself and others like him, traveling among the stars. He saw humans adapting to new worlds, discovering new life, and creating civilizations that honored both their intelligence and their spirit. He felt a connection to every human on Earth, as if their collective potential was reaching out to him. And in that moment, he understood that humanity's journey was just beginning. They were meant to explore, to learn, and to thrive in ways that no other species could. Cole smiled, feeling a sense of pride and responsibility. He had been given a glimpse of the future, and it was bright. The artifact pulsed one final time, as if acknowledging his understanding, and then its glow softened. It was still alive, still projecting its miniature galaxy, but now it felt less like a challenge and more like a guide, an invitation to continue learning and growing. As the night deepened, Cole lay back on the grass, gazing at the stars above. He thought of the tiny civilizations in the artifact, the challenges they had faced, and the lessons he had learned. He realized that humanity's strength was not just survival, it was the ability to rise above difficulties, to think creatively, and to act with courage and compassion. Somewhere, far beyond Red Rock, the mysterious woman watched silently. She knew that the awakening had begun. Humanity had seen a glimpse of its potential, and the journey to the stars was now closer than ever. Cole closed his eyes, feeling a deep sense of connection to the universe. The stars above mirrored the miniature galaxy before him, and he understood that humans were part of something far greater than themselves. They were explorers, creators, and problem solvers, and the future, bright, vast, and full of possibility, awaited them. He drifted into a peaceful sleep, dreaming of the worlds he had seen, the civilizations he had helped guide, and the adventures that awaited humanity beyond the stars. For the first time, he felt a sense of certainty. Humans were special. They were meant to thrive, to explore, and to shape the future of the universe. And somewhere, deep in the cosmos, the artifact pulsed gently, a silent promise of the journey still to come. The sun rose over Red Rock with a calm brilliance that seemed almost unreal. Rancher Cole stood at the edge of his land, the artifact before him glowing softly in the morning light. After the previous days of revelations, tests, and awakening, he felt different, wiser, more aware, and filled with a quiet determination. The plains he had known his entire life seemed smaller now, yet full of possibilities. The world was waiting, and he could sense it. Cole knelt beside the artifact, studying the miniature galaxy hovering in the air. The tiny starships moved with precision and purpose, but their motions were also flexible, almost playful. He understood now that every pattern, every choice had meaning. Humans were capable of similar feats, not in miniature projections but in real life. Humans could explore, adapt, and change the future of worlds if they were willing to step beyond fear and hesitation. A faint shimmer appeared in the air nearby. Cole turned to see her, the mysterious woman standing gracefully, her cloak catching the morning sunlight like liquid gold. She had returned. Her eyes held the same calm, luminous intensity, but there was a sense of approval in her gaze. "You have learned much," she said softly, her voice carrying a melodic rhythm that seemed to resonate in Cole's mind. "You have seen what humans can achieve, and you have understood your potential." Cole nodded. "Yes," he said quietly, I see it now. Humans are more than we've ever known. We can think, adapt, and do things that no other species can. I understand what you meant." The woman smiled faintly. "Then it is time," she said. "Time for humanity to begin its journey not as observers but as participants. To shape, to explore, to create. And you, Cole, have seen what lies ahead. You have been chosen to carry this understanding and to inspire others." Cole felt a thrill of both excitement and responsibility. "Me? Just a rancher from Red Rock?" he asked, almost laughing at the thought. "Yes," she said firmly. "Your experience, your perspective, your intuition, they are exactly what is needed. Humans succeed not because they are perfect, but because they are human." You will show others how to rise, to act, and to believe in their own potential. Cole studied the artifact again. Its tiny galaxy was alive, vibrant, and beautiful. He reached out, touching the light. It pulsed gently under his fingers, like a heartbeat in rhythm with his own. He realized that the galaxy, the civilizations, the challenges, they were all connected. Every choice mattered, and humans were capable of making choices that no one else could. "I understand," Cole said. "I will do my part. I will help humanity see what we can achieve." The woman nodded. "It will not be easy," she said. "There will be obstacles, mistakes, and challenges, but your kind has a unique gift, creativity, courage, and the ability to adapt. That is your strength. Remember it." Cole felt a sense of clarity settle over him. The artifact had shown him the possibilities, the tests had taught him his own abilities, and the visions had awakened something inside him. He knew what he must do. Humans were not meant to remain on their small, familiar worlds. They were meant to explore, to solve problems, and to shape the universe with their ingenuity and spirit. The woman gestured toward the sky. "Look," she said. Cole followed her gaze. In the clear morning light, distant stars twinkled, not far off but inviting. They seemed almost within reach, as if calling him and humanity toward adventure. "I see it," he said softly. "The path forward. We can rise to this challenge. We can explore, create, and thrive." "Yes," the woman said. "And when your kind steps forward, you will not walk alone. Others will come. You will learn, share, and grow together. But it begins with awareness, the understanding that your choices matter, that your spirit is unique, and that your potential is limitless." Cole looked down at the artifact one last time. Its glow was gentle now, but it carried the weight of all he had seen and learned. The tiny starships moved as if in quiet celebration, completing their tasks, stabilizing planets and nurturing life. He realized then that the galaxy, the artifact, and the woman's presence had been preparing him, not for a single act, but for a lifetime of discovery and guidance. He straightened, feeling a renewed sense of energy. The plains of red rock stretched out before him, familiar yet transformed in his perception. Everything seemed alive with possibility, from the wind that rustled the grass to the distant hills that marked the horizon. He could feel that humanity's journey had begun, and he was ready to take the first step. The woman moved closer, placing a hand lightly on the artifact. Its glow intensified for a moment, as if acknowledging her touch, then settled into a steady rhythm. She looked at Cole with a calm certainty. "You have seen what humans can achieve," she said. "Now it is time to return to your world. Take this knowledge, this understanding, and inspire others. Humanity's future is bright, but it begins with awareness, courage, and action." Cole nodded. "I understand," he said, "and I will not forget." The woman's form began to shimmer, the edges of her figure blurring like sunlight on water. "Remember," she said, her voice fading gently, "humanity's strength is in its heart, its creativity, and its courage. Nurture it, protect it, and it will guide your kind to greatness." Before Cole could respond, she disappeared entirely, leaving only the artifact glowing softly in the morning light. He stood silently, feeling the weight and importance of her words. Everything had changed. The plains, the stars, the very air around him, all seemed imbued with possibility. For hours, Cole remained by the artifact, exploring its miniature galaxy one last time. He watched civilizations grow, planets stabilize, and starships complete their missions. He realized that each tiny action reflected the potential of humanity itself. If humans acted with courage, creativity, and care, they could succeed where no other species could. As the sun climbed higher, Cole finally lifted the artifact and carried it to his ranch. He placed it carefully on a shelf in his home, knowing that it was not just a tool but a symbol of potential, inspiration, and guidance. Every day he would study it, learn from it, and share its lessons with others. In the following weeks, Cole spoke to the townspeople of Red Rock. He did not reveal the artifact's true nature, for that was not yet necessary. Instead, he shared lessons about courage, creativity, and problem-solving. He encouraged his neighbors to see possibilities where they had once seen obstacles, to act thoughtfully yet boldly, and to trust their own instincts. Slowly, he noticed change. People began to think differently, to act with more confidence, and to approach challenges with curiosity rather than fear. Cole realized then that humanity's journey had already begun, not in spaceships or distant worlds, but in the hearts and minds of ordinary people, ready to embrace their unique potential. The artifact had shown him the universe, but it was humans' choices that would shape it. Months passed, and Cole continued to learn from the artifact. Each day brought new visions, new lessons, and new challenges. He began to see patterns in the miniature galaxy that mirrored life on Earth. Cooperation, creativity, and courage led to success, while rigidity and fear led to stagnation. He knew that these lessons were not just for him, they were for all of humanity. One evening, as the sun set in brilliant hues of gold and crimson, Cole stood on a hill overlooking Red Rock. The artifact glowed softly beside him, its miniature galaxy reflecting in his eyes. He thought of the woman who had come to him, of the challenges he had faced, and of the visions he had witnessed. Everything had led to this moment, and he felt a deep sense of purpose. Humans were ready, not perfect, not invincible, but capable in ways no other species could be. Their creativity, courage, and adaptability were unmatched, and with awareness, guidance, and action, they could rise to any challenge, even among the stars. Cole smiled, feeling the weight of responsibility and the thrill of possibility. He knew that the journey ahead would be long and full of obstacles, but he was ready. Humanity's path to the stars had begun, and he had seen the first steps. The stars twinkled in the night sky above Red Rock, mirrored by the tiny galaxy in the artifact. Cole felt a connection between his home, his people, and the vast universe beyond. Humanity's potential was limitless, and the adventure had only just begun. As he watched, the artifact pulsed gently, a quiet reminder of the journey ahead. Cole understood now that the greatest discoveries were not just in distant worlds, but in the courage, creativity, and heart of humanity itself. And with that understanding, he felt hope, determination, and excitement for the future. Humans were special. Humans were capable. And humanity was ready to step into the universe, boldly, wisely, and with hearts full of courage. The plains of Red Rock stretched endlessly before him, the stars twinkled above, and the artifact glowed softly beside him. Cole took a deep breath, feeling the promise of a new beginning. Humanity's journey had begun.